who do y'all think Kawaki wants dead more, Code or Boruto?
Definitely Boruto. He doesn't like Code, of course, but Boruto is the bigger threat because he has Momoshiki, right? Boruto is a pure Otsutsuki, and Kawaki, when he stated his goal of eliminating of the Otsutsuki, he said the first person he's going to kill is Boruto, simply because Momoshiki's there. And Boruto's also considered Otsutsuki because of the genetics passed down from the karma thanks to Momo. So with that being said, I feel like he's gonna try to kill Boruto first. He's trying to go after him. Not only that, like during this whole time skip, Kawaki more or less, as we saw in the beginning of chapter one, Kawaki was more concerned about Boruto rather than Code, right? Even after Boruto left the village, we saw at the end of chapter 80, Kawaki was focused. He was only talking about Boruto. He doesn't really care about Code that much. But now that he has two people he wants to kill, Kawaki's obviously going to make a choice, and I think that's going to be Boruto.
Yeah, I agree with what Meek's saying. And just to add too, Naruto's not in the picture anymore. So he has the only reason why he would be really worried about Code is for Code killing Naruto. So Naruto is not around. And it's really the person he's trying to protect. He has no reason to really want to kill Code rather than just because he doesn't like him. You know, how they grew up with each other and stuff like that. But other than that, no, I really think he'll definitely go for Boruto.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the opposite camp. I kind of disagree with the both of you.
Oh, same. Good. I thought I was about to the 1v3. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Code definitely is going to be the priority if Kawaki gets involved in this fight. Now, I'm skeptical about this. On one hand, they do allude to there being this like three-way battle, this triple threat match between Code, of course, Kawaki and Boruto, the Karma Bearers. Okay, cool. They allude to that. Okay, I'm fine with that. But then on the other hand, Boruto is talking about how easily he could defeat Code. So now, you know, the thrill of that three-way fight to me was that maybe they were relative. Maybe Code was so much more powerful than Boruto that he would need Kawaki to help him. But if Boruto is outright more powerful than Code, I'm not really sure where Kawaki stands in this fight, what utility he can even serve. Of course, we can craft a multitude of possibilities, but just based upon the dialogue that was presented in chapter 2, I don't even see the necessity for a three-way fight, to be completely honest, because it seems like they're trending away from Code. Again, part of the hype was that I was expecting Code to do something big. He was going to show up, show out, and do something. It looks like he's going to show up, show out, and do nothing. So I don't know, but we'll have to see with that. Now, getting a little further beyond that, I will say this much. Code represents a present and constant threat, where Boruto represents a potential threat. The potential threat is obviously through Momoshiki, but of course, Code right now has Claw Grimes murdering civilians, sneaking Kawaki himself, and almost killing Himawari and his friends or his allies. We won't be too presumptuous. So that, to me, is a clear sign that Code is the obvious threat. But again, Boruto can easily pack him. So it might be the case that before Kawaki even gets to the scene, if that does happen, because it looks like the 10 cells is the focus, not this three-way fight in particular, Code might already get put on a shirt. He might already get defeated. Now, I don't think he is going to be killed by Boruto, because Boruto needs him to give him the coordinates to the 10 cells dimension to destroy the main body, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So death isn't really on the cards from Boruto specifically. However, I do think Boruto must fail. He must fail from a narrative perspective, because we do need that 10 tails to go to sicko mode just to have the story go move forwards. So that's really just my thought process. Boruto is a potential threat, not a current threat, and Code is the current threat, and that's going to be the priority if Kawaki even shows up to begin with. But yeah.
No, you make a good point. Yeah, that's fair.
What about you, Bar? You had a take?
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that as well. That right there is my point. What was my take right now? Code, as at this given moment, is like the actual threat, where Boruto presents a potential threat, and of course, the difference is Boruto is actual Otsutsuki. Code isn't really Otsutsuki. The thing though, like Code is doing Otsutsuki things. Like Kawaki hates Otsutsuki members because of what Code is actually doing, like currently, like pillaging villages, taking chakra, stealing a bunch of stuff from planets, and of course dipping, like stuff like that. So I think that he's probably like like the biggest threat as of right now, and specifically for the next chapter. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't really see Kawaki team up with Cold. One of the biggest reasons is like public perception. Like they already hinted at that like new memories could possibly be like the thing. Like if Kawaki is already on the heels, like to piggyback off the omnipotence, he shouldn't really be trying to do anything to put him in the worst graces. Like he's
Oh,
in the
true.
position where he wanted to be. So like if he's in the village, Cold is there attacking the village, and Boruto is defending the village, and Shikamaru's henchmen, his Jonins, are literally at the battlefield monitoring everything. Kawaki can't now take Code's side and fight against Boruto
It's
to
gonna make him
destroy
look
the
bad.
village. Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
look horrific. So that right there makes me believe that Kawaki probably wouldn't aid Code in like a battle versus Boruto.
I think that might play a role, but I'm not entirely sure how important optics are to Kawaki. I mean, maybe something that alludes to my point would be, you know, when Himawari refers to him as her brother, but he just outright denies it. He's like, yo, how many times do I have to tell you, do not call me that? So that's very interesting. Now, that can mean a great many things from the perspective of a child like Himawari, especially under the conditions that their parents have died. Maybe Boruto, or rather Kawaki, who she believes is her biological brother, fell into a depression, or he got really moody, or whatever the case may be, right? He's a teenager after all. So maybe that could be the something to play around with, but I think we got Kawaki's motivations spoken outright to us, right? He wanted to protect Naruto, and that's why he sealed him in the Daikokuten dimension. And going even further beyond that, he wants to make sure he eradicates all the threats before he releases him. And then after that, Naruto can kill him if he wants to. Now, we could say his motivations have shifted or changed in the 3 years that have passed. That is a lot of time. However, without any like indications of this hypothetical change, we can't really say or apply, you know, our own headcanon to that. So I just believe we got Kawaki's motivations. We understand why he's doing what he's doing, you know. So I really don't think he cares that much about the optics, if I'm being honest. But I think it's an interesting point, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree too. I don't think that he cares about the perception. Plus, I don't think that it'll ruin his perception with the villagers, anyways, because the perception of the villagers is that Boruto killed the Hokage. So if Kawaki was to team up with Code to take out Boruto, I don't think they'll really side at him. The only people who will really look at him is like Sumire and Sarda. Everybody else will see him as trying to take out the person who killed the Hokage, even though he is aiding Code. But it could play back on him though, because Code is consuming all of the villagers in the village, so that could play a role in, you know, them having a bad perception of him. I do think that he is trying to keep the perception of that, you know, he is Boruto, he is a Hokage's son, he cares about the village and things of that nature. So that could play against him if he did decide to go against, you know, Boruto and fight Code.
Yeah, just real quick, because I know Bro wants like to speak, but I will say this doesn't mean I'm advocating for the opposite position, like a free gamer Meek. I still don't think he's going to team up with Code, but I just don't think the reason why he wouldn't would be like because he's concerned very much about the optics, and I don't think he's keeping up appearances. I think any concern or care that he has for the village or whatever the case may be is genuine. I don't think there's any like act or game that's being played. I think, you know, over 3 years you get to know people, and then plus this is Naruto's village and he loves Naruto. I'd imagine he wants Naruto to return to something. So yeah, just my thoughts though. But
Yeah, I mean, in my perspective, I think that he does care about the village, not totally, but slightly. The reason why I say slightly is because it's still like advantageous to him to actually be an asset to the village. Like as of right now, of course, he's not being hunted by the village or anything like that. He's not being looked at, and not only that, he actually has access to a lot of the stuff inside the Hidden Leaf Village. He actually goes on missions inside the Hidden Leaf Village. So like those are things that are like perks to Kawaki, even if they're not necessarily directly helping him kill off other Otsuki members. It's still perks that Kawaki still likes, and I think because of that, like he has to still maintain a good reputation inside the Hidden Leaf Village. Like hypothetically, if he teamed up with Code, like I get where it's like, hey, he's still fighting against the guy who like killed the past Kage, but it's like if Orochimaru came back to the Hidden Leaf Village and he was fighting against Madara, like you can't team up with Madara to fight against Orochimaru just because Orochimaru killed the past Kage. Like you can't do that. So like it'll still be like a bad look, and I think that Kawaki still does want to hold up an image just so he can still maintain the benefits that he does get from the Hidden Leaf Village. Even if it's not like he loves the Hidden Leaf Village, it's still like it still presents a positive.
So I have a
Yeah,
question.
That's why I was giving
yeah.
like, oh, sorry, just
You're
real
fine.
quick. That's why I was like giving it to both sides though. Like, I agree that he does want to keep the appearances, but I don't think that it would really add really much of a bad blemish on him if he tried to attack Kawaki, because you don't even got to look at it as a 2v1 against Boruto. You could have just looked at it as a 3-way deadlock. And that in that sense, he's just fighting Code and Boruto at the same time. In that sense, they don't have to look at it as he's teaming up with Code.
I don't know. I don't know how practical that is. To like, Code just like, all right, Kawaki's on my team. Next thing you know, Kawaki just hits him with some crazy stuff. Then now he's on my team because he just hit Boruto with some crazy. Nah, I can't work. I get where you're coming from, but like, I think the best thing for Kawaki to do as of right now is either, I won't say flat out take Boruto's side because that right there might look a bit fishy as well, but like at least try to mitigate the actual threat that's in the Hidden Leaf Village right now. I think that's kind of what he was doing in the last chapter, because he wasn't necessarily paying too much attention to Boruto and Kawaki or Boruto and Code, but he was actually like trying to save everybody else that was in the village.
It seems like to me omnipotence is just kind of like just updating people's minds and so on and so forth. And any contradictions that persist. But even beyond that, I still don't even think that's the reason why Kawaki wouldn't care to have Himawari call him brother. I just think it's just in his character.
Yeah,
Perfectly. He feels guilt about what he had to do to her family. But nevertheless, but look, I think we can find a happy medium. He uses shadow clone jutsu and he's on both teams. Cool.